making healthcare choices. And especially when it comes to Medicare, it can feel like you're trying to navigate this really complex, sometimes just confusing maze. It's such a critical decision for you, our listener. I mean, it impacts your health, your peace of mind, and yeah, let's be honest, your finances for years down the road. So today, we're not just, offering you a map. We want to give you a flashlight, maybe a guide to cut through all that noise. We're diving deep into a really crucial topic, Medicare advertising fraud. And it's not always the super obvious scams you hear about. Sometimes the deception is, well, incredibly subtle. It's hiding right there in plain sight. Our mission for you in this deep dive is pretty straightforward. We want to equip you with the knowledge to recognize these deceptive practices so you can protect your interests and make sure your choices are based on your actual needs, not on some misleading claim or, some questionable incentive someone else has. We're going to uncover the surprising, sometimes kind of shocking ways these schemes operate. We're talking suspect payments disguised as legitimate business, high-pressure tactics that prey on our anxieties. We'll give you clear, actionable red flags to watch for, so you can spot the traps before you even get close to stepping into one.
That maze analogy, it's spot on
Yeah.
because the sheer volume and honestly, the complexity of the information out there can be overwhelming. It makes beneficiaries really vulnerable. And what's really important to grasp right from the start is how these misleading practices often shift the focus completely away from your actual patient needs. Instead, they kind of pivot towards financial gain for others. This isn't just about, bad advertising. It's really a distortion of priorities, and that deeply affects the quality and the appropriateness of the care you might receive. For instance, it's so crucial to remember that while original Medicare, that's run directly by the government, well, many plans you see advertised are Medicare Advantage plans, and those are administered by private insurance companies. That distinction, it's really foundational to understanding who's talking to you and, frankly, why they're talking to you.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit more. When we talk about Medicare advertising fraud, well, most people might picture something almost cartoonishly illegal, right? Like those old Nigerian prince emails or something. But what is Medicare advertising fraud at its core? How do we define it so we know what we're truly up against in this maze?
You're right. It's often far more insidious than that. At its heart, Medicare advertising fraud involves misleading marketing practices. You have companies using deceptive claims or sometimes questionable financial incentives, really just to steer beneficiaries towards specific Medicare Advantage plans or maybe even particular providers. The critical point here, the absolute key, is that these actions fundamentally prioritize financial gain over your actual healthcare needs. It's a profound betrayal of trust, really, just dressed up as a sales pitch.
Sure.
Let me give you a couple of concrete examples, okay? Imagine a scenario where a private insurer, maybe a Medicare Advantage organization, an MAO offers payments to a doctor's office for every single patient they refer to that MAO's specific plan.
Wow.
Right. These MAOs, remember, they're the private companies running these Medicare Advantage plans. Or, on the flip side, sometimes you might have a particular clinic or maybe a hospital paying an insurance agent a bonus specifically for directing enrollees their way.
So the incentive is flowing the other direction.
Exactly. And in both scenarios, the choice you make about your healthcare plan or your provider, it isn't based on what's best for your health. It's based on a hidden financial incentive that benefits someone else. You end up potentially enrolling in plans that may not genuinely be in your best interest simply because money, rather than your health and well-being, is dictating the selection process for somebody else involved.
That's where it gets really unsettling, I think, for anyone trying to navigate this landscape. It's not just one big, obvious fraud. It's like a series of hidden traps. So fraud isn't monolithic, right? It comes in several forms, and each one has its own particular hook, kind of designed to catch you off guard. What are the main types we should be really aware of so we can identify them when they pop up?
That's the key question, isn't it? How do these deceptions actually manifest in the real world? Because, like you said, they don't always look like traditional fraud.
Okay, one of the most concerning types involves what we can call suspect payments. This is where those private Medicare Advantage organizations, the MAOs, engage in truly questionable financial arrangements, like paying healthcare providers or maybe their staff just for patient referrals to specific MA plans.
Right.
Now, this is a really big deal because it directly violates anti-kickback laws.
Okay, can you explain those laws quickly?
Sure. Think of anti-kickback laws like the rules of a game. They're designed specifically to ensure that medical decisions are based purely on your health needs, not on some hidden financial deal between a provider and a plan administrator. Without these laws, well, your doctor's advice could potentially be compromised by financial incentives, rather than being solely focused on what's medically best for you. It really distorts the entire patient-provider relationship.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay. Another tactic we see pretty frequently is improper incentives. In these cases, providers might actually pay MAO brokers, the insurance agents, to steer enrollees toward their specific services.
Ah, so the clinic pays the agents.
That's precisely. And this isn't just some technicality. It directly undermines the trust you place in that broker or agent. You rely on them, presumably, for unbiased guidance, right? But if they're getting a bonus for sending you to a particular hospital or specialist, well, their advice might be tainted. The broker isn't really acting as an objective guide focused on your best interests anymore.
Okay, that's sneaky. What else?
Then there's misleading information. This is often what people think of first when they hear advertising fraud, and it can be incredibly clever. Ads might make totally unrealistic claims about savings you could get. Or, and this is common, they'll use official Medicare names or logos without proper permission. They're trying to look more legitimate than they actually are.
Making it seem official.
Exactly. And I've even seen ads that falsely suggest certain benefits, like free groceries or maybe cash back on your Part B premium, are available to everyone, when in reality, they only apply to a very small, very specific group of individuals, maybe with particular chronic conditions or specific income levels.
Ah, the fine print.
Right. It creates this false sense of widespread opportunity for many people, making you feel like you're missing out if you don't jump on an offer that was never truly meant for you in the first place. It really plays on our desire for easy solutions in what feels like a very complex system.
Yeah, definitely.
And finally, a very prevalent method and one you absolutely need to be vigilant about involves unauthorized contact. This is when companies represent themselves as being from Medicare or Social Security or maybe even Medicaid, and they send you unsolicited calls, texts, emails, maybe mailers. These unexpected communications are a major, major red flag because official government entities, they generally don't initiate sales pitches this way. They just don't operate like a telemarketing company.
That last one really resonates, because I think I've seen that pop up in my own family, those official-looking letters or calls that just come out of nowhere. So, okay, what does all this mean for you, the individual who's making these critical choices about your health care? How can you spot these sneaky tactics in real time before you get caught up in them?
Wow.
Let's talk about the specific red flags, the things that should immediately grab your attention and make you proceed with, like, extreme caution.
Right. These are truly crucial indicators to help you protect yourself. Think of them as your personal early warning system, yeah? Designed to go off when something just doesn't feel quite right. First off, be on high alert for unsolicited communications. This means receiving any unexpected phone calls, texts, emails, or even flyers that you did not ask for.
You didn't request it.
Exactly. If you haven't initiated contact, you should be very, very suspicious of anyone reaching out to you specifically about Medicare plans. My neighbor almost signed up for a plan just from a really convincing flyer that landed in her mailbox, completely unbidden. Always remember, if you didn't reach out first, they really shouldn't be reaching out to you with a sales pitch.
Good rule of thumb.
Second, watch out for false representation. This is when any company claims to be from Medicare or sent by Medicare or Social Security or Medicaid. They do this because it taps into our inherent trust in official-sounding communications. We're kind of conditioned to respect government agencies.
Sure, it sounds legitimate.
It does. But official government entities rarely, if ever, initiate contact this way for sales purposes. Like I said, they just don't operate like a telemarketer. A third red flag is inaccurate coverage information. This is when you're told certain prescriptions or maybe services are covered by a plan. But then, upon your own verification, when you check it out yourself, you discover they are not.
That's a big one.
It's huge because it directly impacts your health and your finances. Always, always double-check these claims. Go directly to the plan provider or check with Medicare itself. Don't just take a salesperson's word for it, no matter how nice or convincing they seem. It's an extra step, sure, but it's absolutely worth the effort.
Definitely.
Next, be really wary of any pressure to enroll. Scammers frequently try to create this false sense of urgency. They'll often tell you things like, sign up now or miss out on this incredible deal, or maybe that an offer is only available today.
The limited time offer trick.
Exactly. This high-pressure tactic is designed specifically to exploit our fear of missing out FOMO, right? And force you to act impulsively without giving you time to think or do your research. A legitimate representative working ethically will never rush you into such an important decision. Never.
That's a key takeaway.
And finally, look out for ineligible offerings. These are the ads promoting benefits that seem genuinely too good to be true. And crucially, are only available to a very small specific group of people rather than being widely available to most beneficiaries. For example, a friend of mine who's generally healthy doesn't have major chronic conditions. Well, she was shown an ad for a plan promising extensive home health services and this huge allowance for over-the-counter stuff. Turns out, those specific, really attractive benefits, they were only for individuals with multiple severe health issues, which she just didn't have.
So it wasn't for her at all.
Not at all. If something sounds almost unbelievable, it probably is, or at least it probably doesn't apply to you.
Wow, that's a lot to keep track of, but it really highlights how crucial it is to just be aware, all right? Knowing the dangers is absolutely step one. But knowing how to defend yourself, how to take action, that's even more important for you, our listener. So we've identified the traps in this Medicare maze. Now, how do we fight back? What practical, actionable steps can you take right now to protect yourself from these deceptive practices and make sure you're making the best choices for your health?
Exactly. Knowledge is most valuable when it's understood and directly applied, right?
Yeah.
Here's how you can actively protect your interests and really become your own best advocate in this complex system. First, and this is fundamental, stay informed. It's vital to truly understand the basic difference between original Medicare and these Medicare Advantage plans. Remember, original Medicare is administered by the government. Medicare Advantage plans are administered by private companies.
Okay.
Knowing this helps you understand who you're dealing with, who potentially profits from your enrollment, and what regulations might apply. This distinction is really critical because it affects how your benefits are delivered and who you should go to if you have questions or problems.
Makes sense. Verification is key then.
Absolutely. Second point, verify information diligently. Never, ever take claims at face value, especially from an ad or salesperson. Always check the official website of the plan you're considering. Or, better yet, call them directly using a number you find from a trusted source like Medicare.gov to confirm any claims. Claims about benefits, costs, which doctors are in the network, anything else that sounds appealing. A few minutes of verification directly from the official source, it can save you just immense headaches and financial strain down the line. Don't just Google it, go to the official plan website or call the number listed on Medicare.gov.
Good advice. Don't just trust the first thing you see.
Right. Third, and this is so crucial, do not be pressured. A legitimate Medicare representative or agent will never, ever pressure you into making a quick decision. Your healthcare choices are just too important for impulse buys. If you feel any sense of urgency or coercion, if someone tells you there's a limited time offer that expires immediately, or they try to rush you off the phone, that is your signal.
Time to disengage.
Exactly. Hang up the phone. Walk away from the sales situation. Your health decision should always be made calmly, carefully, and after you've had time for thorough consideration, maybe talking with trusted advisors.
Okay, and what if you do encounter something suspicious?
Great question. Finally, report suspicious activity. If you believe you're being spammed, or if you've witnessed any misleading marketing practices, you can and absolutely should report it. The Senior Medicare Patrol, or SMP, they're a fantastic resource. They're dedicated specifically to educating and assisting beneficiaries like you. They can guide you through the reporting process. Or you can always call 1-800-MEDICARE directly. Your report helps protect not just yourself, but countless others who might fall prey to the same tactics. Think of it as kind of like your civic duty to help keep the system clean.
That's a really good way to put it. This deep dive has truly shown us that navigating the Medicare maze, well, it requires vigilance, doesn't it? And maybe a good flashlight. Being well-informed is clearly your strongest defense against those who might prioritize profit over your well-being. It's really about empowering yourself with knowledge, not just to pick a plan, but to really understand the landscape you're moving through.
Absolutely. And, understanding these deceptive tactics, it empowers you not just in making these critical Medicare choices. It actually sharpens your critical thinking skills for evaluating information across all aspects of your life. It builds a really crucial skill set for navigating our increasingly complex world, don't you think?
I completely agree.
So as you go about your day, maybe consider this little thought experiment. How do the principles we talked about, recognizing pressure tactics, verifying information independently, understanding the underlying financial incentives, how do those apply not just to healthcare, but maybe to other crucial services in your life where trust is absolutely paramount? Where else might you benefit from applying the same level of scrutiny in your daily decisions? Could be financial services, maybe home repairs, even just online shopping. Where else is that critical eye needed?
That's a truly powerful thought to leave you with, and yeah, it extends far beyond just Medicare. Thank you so much for joining us on this essential deep dive. Stay informed, stay protected, and we'll see you next time.